Who wants to talk about guitars? Do you want to talk about guitars? Who wants to talk about guitars? Do you want to talk about guitars? Join me. Let's talk about guitars together. I'm the Guitkit. I'm glad you spend some time with me. I feel blessed. I do. You, that guy back there. Don't be shy, man. We're all friends. We get this time. We get to spend it together whenever we're free. I'm so glad to see you. Anyway, let's talk about this. This is what we call us guitar repairing people a husk. Sort of like a guitar, they've stripped all the valuable parts out of all the, you know what I mean, the bridge parts are gone, electronics are pretty much gone, switch is still there, tuner is still there, anything valuable, anything that's like kind of worthwhile has been removed from it. So this is a husk. And I was so glad to get it because I heard the story about this brand years before, about 2 or 3 years before actually, and I was like, I'd love to get my hands on one of those. That's such an interesting story. I don't even know if the story was really real or if it was true. The story that I heard about this company is called Swift. And this is like one of the early ones. You can tell because you see the logo is like really like cheesily done on there. You see that? Swift. In London, in like the early 2000s, the early 2000s, late 90s, there was like a deficit of like cheap guitars. Just none around really. You know, that was before the Chinese got real big. The Koreans sent everything to America. So, you know what I mean? They were like, you know, Germans were we're not really worried about making cheap guitars anymore. Marshall Plan make us very rich. We just don't even build the BMW anymore. Basically, you know what I'm saying? There was no one for the, you know what I mean, the British to like, hey, why don't you build some guitars for crying out loud? So, a guy from London by the name of Brian Swift, he went and got a whole bunch of kits from China shipped to him. Remember this? Episode 1 of Guitkit? We made this beautiful Les Paul, the Slash Les Paul from a kit. He had all these kits sent to him. And he was really good with painting and finishing, supposedly. This is the story. Right? I don't know. He could have just got them assembled and told everybody he did it by hand. Because it's more attractive to tell people, oh, I did it myself. It's made in London. Who knows what the truth is? It's a real shady kind of story. I believe, you know, maybe the first couple he made himself. And then he had the Chinese do it all. And after the Chinese did it all, people sort of lost interest in them. But the first little buzz, you know what I mean? People started buying all these little Swift instruments because they were different. They were good. They were cool. They were bizarre. They were quirky. Everything, like I said, even the cavity cover on the back has been taken off. I mean, this thing has been really stripped. Luckily, still has the tuners, but I can tell just looking at it, it does look like it was from a kit. There's a lot of stuff in here that like, kind of shows me that it was done by like an amateur. You know what I mean? The routing and stuff. I don't really know if that's the case, but I don't know, man. He was definitely good at doing some of the finish work. Doesn't look bad at all if he, in fact, did it. Could have been some guy named Ming Chuan who was doing it, you know what I mean, getting beat by a stick from another guy. Faster! This guy Swift, he wants it to look perfect. You know what I'm saying? Who knows, man? I'm going to flip you around. We're to get this thing back in time, man. We're going to make it look beautiful. I got a lot of parts sitting around from these. I made a couple different Les Paul kits over the years. You know what I mean? I never really used any of the stuff that came with it, so I should have all the stuff to make it look nice. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. It's going to be a fun episode. Time that we can share together. That's what really, as friends, should be important to you. Not the other stuff, right? So I'm going to flip you around in 3 seconds. We'll see it on the slab. We're going to look at all the imperfections, things we need to fix. A lot of stuff, folks. We're going to make a mental list of what we need to order. We'll order it. And then when it comes, we're going to put it together. And we're going to laugh. We're going to dance. I'm going to sing for you. And you're going to be happy. And if not, you know what I'm saying? There's lots of channels on YouTube for you to check out. I saw this one with this guy. He was balancing stuff on his head. You might like that. You might. So I'm going to flip you around. 3, 2, 1. There it is. Old Swifty himself. It's like an early one, like I'm saying. Definitely some amateur shit going on here. Look at the way this is drilled out. You know what I'm saying? If it was like done by the Chinese, they would have done a better job. It just seems like, you know what I mean? He did a really good job. You know what I mean? It's like a real thick poly sort of mock-up, but it's not like a Chinese poly. It feels like he did this one. Yeah, he might have just gotten out of a, you know what I mean, template, pattern. You know what I mean? Just spray painted his label on there. You know what I'm saying? This is Swifty now. See, it's plywood, really, with some nice looking veneers, man. Got a plate like this. That whole plate set I think I'll replace it with. From one of my Les Paul kits, as I said. So there's a little damage up here. Take a look. See this? It's broken in. You know what I'm saying? It just needs to be glued and clomped and stomped. But I will say this. There is no like trace of any stickers ever having been on here. Not to say that somebody didn't remove them. I don't know what to think about this legendary Swift brand. It's a real deal. It's definitely an early one, looking at that cheeseburger logo. And I'm glad we got it. I'm so excited to get working on it because I got like lots of parts. And I think we can finish it off without really having to pay that much money. Having a cool conversation piece, man. And it might turn out to be a brilliant X. But it might not because it's turned into like a dung heap sort of find. I mean, I don't know what to think, man. Let's see in the laboratory if we can make a little bit more sense out of things. So you think you're special because you got a private invitation to the laboratory? Well, I'll tell you another thing, asshole. It ain't that special at all. My brother Jimmy, he got whacked while he was whacking off. With a weed whacker. Hey, look. There's some things about this that I like. There are things about this that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Don't like that. Now, there's a problem with this right here. You know what I'm saying? But it's not, it's kind of complex because the binding sort of come up here. And it's like not in the right place. So it has to be like somehow, you know what I mean? It's going to be somehow sort of clamped. And I don't really know how I'm going to do that. But I'm thinking I have to take the neck off, even though I didn't want to take the neck off. Because maybe Brian Swift himself put this neck on. But fuck him. I have to do it. So let's take the neck off. Figure out how we're going to... So you can get a good view here, how it sort of just protrudes. How we're going to do that. How it's going to be done. Maybe I don't have to take the neck off. Maybe I can just stand the guitar up on his head. But it might be a little easier handling it. Plus I get to take the neck off, right? Oh no, he's going to take the neck off. Let's do it. I'll see you then. What? Bucky Dent? He's a great player. So now we get it decapitated. Hey, this is probably something we did not have to 1000% do. But since we're going to be manhandling both elements, probably best. Best for everybody. Easier. So we're going to work on this first because it's a little bit more complicated. Might take a little longer to set. This is going to take a lot of work too. But you know what I mean? We can split up our time. So we'll put him away for a minute. And we're going to focus on this guy. What are we going to do here? Right? What are we going to do? Well, I think the best thing to do is just to take a little bit of Gorilla. Oh, I don't want to show you the trademark. You didn't see that, right? Put a little bit of this leading brand wood glue product into here. Then we have these. Oh, man, I'm just not made for these times. Little bag of rubber bands that are fresh. Rubbery, and we're just gonna, you know what I mean, using these tuners sort of, you know what I mean, be a point of reference, you know what I'm saying, a point of pointness. Let's try to get that all clamped up, and that's the moment where we'll come back and be friends again, neighbor, right? See you in a moment. All right, so we put a lot of glue in there. I mean a lot, from both sides, from the front, from the back. We wiped it off with a wet cloth. And we put like, I don't know, about 20 or so. I'd say about 20, right? 20 rubber bands on it. Cleaned up all the spill out that we could. And we're going to let it set for a little while. I don't know, a day or two. Put a lot of glue in there, right? So let's go look at that body out in the other room. Ready? Let's go. So what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? You know, that's the big question. When I initially started this project, I remembered I'd gotten all different kind of Les Paul kits over the years, and I hardly ever used like the stock stuff that was in there. So I was like, I'll just find, a set of that and throw it on here, make it look nice for the people, right? That's what my whole thing was. Then I started looking through the parts that I had, and I realized, during the pandemic, I sold off a lot of that stuff. I thought, I could sell this at a slight profit. And then after the pandemic's over, I'll just get real cheap out of China. Because before the pandemic, you can get stuff out of China real cheap, That never happened, though. After the pandemic lifted, when we were able to get stuff from China again, things were real expensive. The shipping price was like twice as much as like the actual item price at times, So it was a mess, man. It still is a mess. So I did some bonehead things by selling off a lot of that stuff. So I have nothing to really put on here. So I started thinking about it. I was like, well, that kind of gives me carte blanche to like do whatever I want on this thing. I always kind of want a Les Paul guitar with like all black plastics on it. I don't know why. This was like something that, give me a little bit of, I can do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Artistic license, right? So I went about it. I didn't really have too much, But I did have first thing that I had in stock, in my own sort of hand. I love these Fleur 500, audio taper pots. I just love them. They're great. They never fail. They always do a good job. And luckily, I got like a whole bunch of them right before the pandemic. And then these are the last, 2 sets I have. So I'm good on that. So I also looked through. I had this for when I was making these, trying to make these John Lennon Rickenbacker jack plates for Ricky 325. Trying to make one of them, and I went through a whole bunch of them to get it perfect because I had like a real die set to get the Lennon serial number. So I had one left, so that's cool. I'll put that on here. I had a couple of plastic ones, and I had like a Telecaster kind of style thing. This will look good, man. I kind of like that. So that I had. That's good. I have a jack somewhere. I'll find that. That's no big deal. All right. So I ordered some pickups. I saw these. These were very highly recommended. These are supposedly real alnicos. Cost me a princely sum, I think, of $20 total. For a set from our friends AliExpress. Has the pickup rings. They look nice. They really do. And they are apparently alnico. They don't have no ceramics on the back. Some kind of magnet thing, so that's cool. So we got that, and it has all the screws with it. That's also a cool thing. And then I went through, I was like, well, I want to put some black speed knobs on it. I have all these like Gibson style black speed knobs. I had them. They have the Gibson style lettering on there, which is cool. Flat top 3. I liked it. So I have that. Right, so we're moving right along. You know what I mean? I had a set of these actually. This is one thing I had from one of the Les Paul kits that I was able to locate in my thing. So nice, all the hardware's in there. You know what I'm saying? We're good, all good in the hood there. So let's talk about plastic. All right, let me get my plastics here. This is what I got. I have the switch, this little switch tip, so I can replace this guy over here, right? So this is what I got off of AliExpress. This is like a big smorgasbord of black plastic. You know what I mean? Do up your Les Paul. I was like, this is just going to save my life. You know what I mean? I was like, there we go. Because we have one tan cavity cover on there. And that was it. And then we had the other back side, We got a pick guard, which looks like it'll fit there. We got all the accoutrements, man. We got nice truss rod cover, which I put on the neck. You know what I mean? It looks good. It fits perfectly. Got the bracket. We got a nice black treble ring. So everything looked like it was going to be like a smooth sailing kind of thing. I was like, let me just check to make sure those cavity covers fit this instrument. You know what I'm saying? Because I put this one around here, and it was a little bit smaller. So yeah, that's a little smaller. No big deal. I'm sure I can get away with it because the holes kind of line up. You know what I mean? Doesn't look like that's going to be a big deal. And then I was like, well, this is the big, the icebreaker. I put it in there, and it does not fit any which way, shape, or form. Any way you put it, any way you try to put it, it just does not fit. So we're going to have to cut a new one of these. Because this is a standard Les Paul, plate. You know what I mean? And it just does not fit, man. It's a real sort of frustrating kind of thing. So that was upsetting, so I'm going to have to cut my own plate. No big deal, but still, you know what I mean? It's a pain in the ass. So let's start working on getting this back into the laboratory. Let's take this off. You know what I mean? Open this up and see what's inside. So I'll see you then when we got him all cracked open, right? It's not what it's cracked up to be, Saul. I'll get you your money. Just give me a couple days. I want it now. Check off. Alright, so we got it taken out. You can see where this is kind of amateur, which kind of leads me to believe that this is one that Swift actually painted. Anyway, with the necropsy that we did, we can see what happened, right? Now, this had a little ground thing here going to the actual, see this? And it broke off from where it was soldered. See, it was soldered right there. And it just came loose. And that made the guy think, oh, this switch is a little cagey, so we didn't take it. And also, you see this little pin? This pin goes through the thing to keep it sort of wobbling around, and it sort of slid, you know what I'm saying, out of whack. So the switch is real wobbly, and with that being, the ground being disconnected, it's kind of like, oh, it's a staticky bullshit switch. So that might have been one of the reasons that this guy retired the instrument altogether. Now I have another cheeseburger. These are the worst switches of all. You know what I mean? These are like, you know what I mean, the shit of the shit. I have another one, totally new stock from one of these kits, I believe. And I have a beautiful Epiphone one, a brand new, like, you know, Epiphone one. It's an old stock Epiphone. Even says Epiphone on it, you know what I mean? And I could put either one of them on there if this guy's faulty. I like to keep using this one because I hate to sacrifice a nice switch. If I can just tap this guy back into place and, you know what I mean, have a nice strong solder connection with that ground lug right there, you know what I'm saying? So let's try to, you know what I mean, keep the switch. You know what I'm saying? Save the clock switch. Save the clock switch. Now we have that removed and everything. Let's clean this guy up. Some old furniture polish. You know what I'm saying? The old $1.25 tree for now. Furniture polish. I had some guy comment on some video I did, old video I did a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Saying, you're no Luther. Using furniture polish. Don't use oral. Buddy. You know what I mean? I'll use anything I want on it. I'll use, you know what I mean, Elmer Fudd's piss. My guitar, you know what I'm saying? All love, but I'm saying really. You know what I'm saying? Don't criticize me. Right? Criticize thou neighbor. That's against the Biblia. Let's clean it off. Just get all the schmutz off. There's lots of shit all over the place, you know what I mean? Hey, man. What are you looking at me for, man? I got my guitar in front of me, bro. Let's do it now. 1, 2, 3, go! Alright, so it's nice and clean now. Feels nice and glossy. Thinking I'm going to put a little bit of a Mom's on there. You know what I mean? Just to pop it. Right? Make it real shiny. That way we'll have to do it later. Let's do that right now. Alright. There it is, man. Like mirror gloss glass. Beautiful, man. So I'm talking about a little bit of Mom's Brazilian car wax, man. Immediately following, you know what I mean, some Dollar Tree pledge knockoff. I don't care what kind of Luther you are, from what land, it'll give it a beautiful finish, man. And it'll keep it somewhat protected from the manhandling it's about to get with the wiring up process. So let's talk about that, man. This thing, he's donezo, man. This guy's spinning around the center here like the Exorcist. You know what I'm saying? He's just going around and around. So that's not something we want on our instrument, right? Lord knows why this guy didn't take it off the husk, you know what I'm saying? Because it didn't work. So this is the exact same piece. I don't want to waste that nice Epiphone. I mean, it's the exact same piece that was put on there by old Swifty. You know what I'm saying? So we'll use that. We'll wire it up. What do we use to wire it with? I got this old cable from the 80s. Carol cable, man. This is like real thick 2 liters. So I'm going to run 2 leads, you know, 2 wires from the back of it through the cavity. That's what we'll do first. So we'll solder up this new switch, put her in place. I'll see if that burnt, right? Carefully thread it through. Carefully thread it through. You know what I'm saying? I'll see it there. And there it is, man. Look how thick that copper wire is, Serious, man. So we have a 1/2-inch lock washer, internal tooth, holding that guy still. That's a good thing to have. I mean, it looks great from the front. It gives great front, so it's nice. We're good, man. And we got this is the master lead coming out for the jack. Here's the ground from the switch. Here's the ground from the bridge. Right? And here's the ground. This is the bridge pickups from the switch. And this is the neck pickup from the switch. It's just the way it is, people. See? I just know what I'm doing. So let's put those pickups in there now while we got this guy all cracked open. First one we'll put on the neck. And then we'll put on these guys. We'll actually screw them down once we get them in there. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it, right? Let's do it right. I'll see you then. Don't that look pretty? Don't that look good, man? Anyway, we got it all fished through. Here's the bridge pickup. Here's the neck pickup. We've already met our other wires, right? Now it's time to get these guys going. Solder everything up. I got some 3/8-inch internal tooth lock washers. We're going to put one around every one of them inside here. See, this is really primordial looking inside of there, man. These are my 22s, man. I love these, man. These are like the little tiny guys. I got a whole bunch of these. And I got a couple other ones, like good ones, you know what I mean? And I like these ones better for some reason. They just sound real clean, clinical, you know what I mean? For a guitar like this, that's what I want. So, these are both audio tapers, too. I don't have no linear shit, man. I don't like that, man. It's like all of a sudden you get the drop. Yeah, I want it to be smooth, man. I want the full spectrum. So, let's do it, man. Let's solder everything up. Let's get everywhere. You know what I mean? Except for the jack. You know what I mean? I'll come back right when we're about to, get the jack all ready to go. This is the wire I'm going to use for the ground. To ground out all the... You know what I'm saying? It's a nice wire too, man. I'm using the best wires on this guy. These are the best of the best, man. I'm saying we're going to get a good signal. It's going to be all strong, sturdy, instrument. I'll see you when we're all potted out, man. Hey, man, what you talking about my pot for, man? Alright, so nothing too pretty. We put a little bit of aluminum foil shielding tape on the backs here. I mean, even if they're sanded down like I did with 600 grit and I put a little bit of flux on there, they're still like, prone to come off these real cheese bird caps. You know what I'm saying? I don't have like good, like real hot soldering equipment, so that's what I like to do, man. So we got it sticking out the hole here sufficiently. We got a jack. Hey, man, talking about jack off. Let's assemble it up and then take it over to the amplifier and do the tamp test. You know what I'm saying? The tamp test. We're going to tamp it out. See you in a minute. Alright, so we took it over to the amp, did the old tap test, did the switch, everything worked like a charm. You know what I'm saying? Worked like a damn charm. So let's screw this guy on. I got some screws here. They're like bigger heads. These aren't like number 2s. These are like a metric sort of 3, 2.5, something like that. 2.8, who knows? Let's screw it in. And then when we're done screwing it in, let's take a look at that neck. You know what I'm saying? It's been a while since we clamped it up with our bandits. Right? You bandit. See you run it right there. You know what I'm saying? Right around. Alright, so this has been setting for a couple days. You'll notice after a couple days, they start getting like real loose. You know what I mean? Elastic loses elasticity. Alright, so let's just take these off real carefully. You know what I mean? We'll probably just have to throw them away. You know what I mean? Probably just have to throw them away because they're going to be too loose to be used. But let's take a look at what it looks like when it's unbanded. Hey, man, don't band me out. Alright, so we got it off. And it looks really good. I mean, it looks like really, really good. It's like perfect. Perfect. But if you look at it, there's some like, you know what I mean? I took my fingernail and scratched a little bit off, but I mean, there's still some scum. So let's take a little bit of water, just spray it into like a nice soft old t-shirt, and just like carefully, try not to get it in here though, because you don't want to loosen that glue. Around here, you know what I mean? Carefully around the logo too, because we don't really know what kind of paint that is, you know what I mean? Be watercolor, we have no idea. So let's do that and I'll come right back at to you. All right, it's nice and clean. We have this deficit right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of super glue. I'm going to wick it in there, you know what I mean, very carefully, not too much. And then after I'm done, you know what I mean, I'm going to just take this candle, I'm going to dump it out of this little candle pot, you know what I mean, into the back where it's got nice white wax. See that back white wax? I'm just going to scrape it on there right on top of the crazy glue, and you won't see nothing. It'll look perfect. So I'm going to put a little wick top on here, you know what I mean, put some baking soda on there when it's done, dry it out real quick. Put some wax on there, and I'll see you when I'm done waxing up my Swift board, man. Waxing up my Swift board. I'm swifting out a Swift. Right? I bet you the Taylor would like to have this Swift guitar. Isn't that cool? There it is, man. You know what I'm saying? If you're like looking at it real closely, but if you're over here, you're jamming on stage, I mean, it feels structurally perfect. You know what I mean? It looks good enough. You know what I'm saying? Quick fix, man. Quick fix. So, let's talk about this fretboard. I mean, it feels like it's pretty good. It doesn't really look like there's that much fret wear on it at all. It's like, you know, Swift or whoever did a good job. We're going to take the block, just run it up and down real quick. You know what I mean? See if there's anything sticking up. Maybe fix the round over a little tiny bit. Looks like it's all right now. But let's do that right now. Right now. So, yeah, the frets seem pretty good, man. Now it's got a round over fit for a king. Really nice. Wood, very, very, very dry. Very, 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 very disappointing. So we're going to take a piece of steel wool, you know what I mean, the nicest, finest grade, and we'll take a little bit of mineral oil. This one's from ShopRite. You can get it from anywhere, though. Probably cheapest from Walmart, or as they say, Wheelmart. Some places, man, like in Wheeling, West Virginia, right? So let's get it all greased up, and I'll see you then. This is called caring for your rosewood. Look at that. It's like Hershey's milk chocolate, man. So I did something a little different than I usually do. I deviated from the script, man. I put on the oil, then I decided to just wipe it off. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want it to keep oozing out, because it seemed like that type of rosewood to me. And it looks great. It looks perfect. So I'm going to let it sort of just dry. After I wiped it off for about 15 minutes. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of wax on it. Probably some butcher's wax, some real butcher's wax. And I'll give it about 15 minutes and then I'll judge. Maybe I'll put another coat in. We'll see how dry it gets. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so it's nice and dry now. Probably should have left the oil seep in there, but it's good enough, right? So let's put a little bit of butcher's wax, the real butcher's wax, on the rosewood. Right? And I'll tighten up these tuners too. They're kind of loose from all those rubber bands. Oh yeah, look at that. Not only did I do the fretboard, I did the whole damn neck. Look at that. That thick coats of butcher's bowling alley wax, you know what I'm saying? Haven't made that in 20 years, so I mean, it's a rarity, but there's nothing like playing a guitar and the neck's been like coated with butcher's wax. It just feels like different. It feels great. Great, great, great. So let's put this aside and let's bring that body back out. All right. So the first thing that we got to worry about is this, man. This is going to be going next, but this one first, man. I got this. I kind of want to use it because it's like, you know, it's going to save us a lot of time, but it swims around there a little bit. And I see that edge is around here. So I'm going to take a black marker and go around the inside there, furniture marker, and see if we can just dumb it out. I'll be right back at you. You see there? We got the edges darkened. That way, it doesn't really stand out that much, right? So let's screw that down, and we'll move on to this old horse. See you in 1 second. So we got it all screwed in. It looks good. Inconspicuous as it can be, right? So now let's talk about this cavity. It's already been covered with a piece of paper. And what has he done? Well, he took a crayon and he just traced over, you know what I mean? Just lightly on the edges there, and it comes right up. So now we're going to cut this out and we're going to check it as a pattern, right? And we're going to write here outside, so we know that that's the outside, right? I just want everybody to know, man. I want people to understand, because we got to know where to put the bevel, right? And before we do that, we're going to want to note where the holes are too, right? So we're going to wait until we cut the pattern out, and then that's where we're going to draw little holes on, and then I'll see you at that point. And if we do everything right, we'll end up with a template like this. It fits in there perfectly. And this kind of looks wonky, but it's not. That's just the way. It's just the way this thing is like worn out on this corner. Probably somebody trying to shove something in there. It's the way it is, people. Anyway, so now's the time to note where those holes are very carefully on the pattern. And after that's done, I'll see you then. There it is, man. Get the holes carefully annotated, man. Know exactly where they go, man. We know where the top is. We know this is the front. We're good to go, man. Brand new piece of black pickguard material. This is a nice one too, man. This is a nice one. So a miser like myself, I like to sort of study out where's the best place to, you know what I mean, stick this guy down. Where is it going to take up, you know what I mean, the least amount of, you know what I mean, waste, so we can get many pickguards out of this. So I'll study that for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Drive myself mad, telltale heart mad, you know what I'm saying? And then when I've decided, on the back side, I spray a little bit of craft bound. I just put it down, man. I just put it on down. When I'm done doing that, that's why I'm going to come back at you. And then we'll discuss other things to discuss, right? Always something to talk about. And there it is, man. That's where I finally decided it would go. What do you mean it's not the right place? Hey, what do you mean over here? No. Up there? No. In the middle? Are you crazy? Hey, this is the right place. Shut the fuck up. I'm just kidding, man. I shouldn't talk to people like that, especially my friends. So, let's bring it over to Mr. Scroll Saw. Hey, Scroll Sawly. Right, you old craftsman. Let's try our best to cut it out as best as we can. You know what I'm saying? I'll see you at that moment. Not too bad. Quick pass. Now we're going to take the Dremel, or tool that might be known as Dremel in my household. And we're going to use this head. And we're going to quick work of this bullshit. Okay? And I'll see you at that pernt, my perned friend. So now we pretty much have it down to size. It's still not fitting exactly in there. It's got a little rough edge over here. So we're going to spend the next like 25 minutes just trying to get it to fit inside here carefully using some higher grit sandpaper without getting too, you know, one sand, two sand, and check it. One sand, two sand, and check it because it'll go quickly. And then after we get it, you know what I mean, fitting in there, we're going to take like, you know what I mean, finer grade sandpaper and we're going to clean it off. And that's the next time we're going to meet each other. 1, 2, 3. All right. So it's fit. It's sitting in there comfortably. You know what I mean? It's got a little tiny bit of room to wiggle around in. There's this little bump up here where you can pull it out. You know what I mean? It's nice. It came out swimmingly, right? So we got a number 6 countersink bit, right? We're going to drill out these little holes here. We don't want to go through though. We want to make it nice for the people. So I'm going to put this on my drill. I'm going to hope for the best. And I'll see you there. There we go, man. All countersinked out. Those countersink bits can sometimes grab a hold of the patterns and stuff, so be careful. I don't think any harm done. I pulled 4 screws out of the screw drawer that very closely, you know, resemble these screws. So we're, you know what I mean, all on the same page. So we're going to pull this film off. We're going to put it on there. And I'll see what's on there. You know what I'm saying? When it's on there, son. Do you see that? Looks like it's stock, man. So I know a lot of people sweat it when they have a sentimental instrument. It's not really worth that much. You know what I mean? It's missing a cavity cover. Spend like $50, $60 on eBay for, you know what I'm saying? Look, you can make it. You can fake it. You know what I'm saying? And just keep on faking it till you make it. That's just the way you got to think about life. Sometimes, you know what I mean? You got to make some chicken salad out of chicken shit. So let's put this guy together, man. Let's put the neck back on. You know what I'm saying? Very straight neck. We put it against the, you know what I mean? Against the ruler, man. It's just as straight as a fucking, as an arrow, man. Hey, man, as straight as I was coming out of jail. You know what I'm saying? So let's get it all connected and I'll see you there. Look at that. All connected, man. Back together again. We're together again. Looking really, really good. So the most pressing thing right now, our nutty little friend here, man. Now, I measured this nut, and it was a weird size. It was like 33.7 millimeters, something like that, man. Now, a regular Les Paul nut is like 43 millimeters, like a standard one. And the import ones are like 42 millimeters. So I didn't really have anything in the drawer that, you know what I mean, would fit this exactly. So I did all kinds of searches on AliExpress. I found some 43 millimeters. This is a standard Les Paul size. You know what I'm saying? I figured I might be able to get away with that. So I ordered like 4 or 5 of them. Here's one of those. Didn't cost very much, about $5. Then I have these, which are 44 millimeters. And you can tell they're hand finished. And you can tell they're real bone. These are real bone. Whereas this is really plastic. You know what I'm saying? They're not really a very good job with the plastics. It's kind of like, you see, it's got to be sanded up a little bit. But, I mean, it's efficient. You know what I mean? It definitely is sturdy. It would work. So, measuring it out, I could probably get away with it, but it is a little bit too small. You know what I'm saying? Push all the way down the bottom, and you see the whole binding is sticking out. You know what I'm saying? For real. So, I do need the 44 millimeter, which is a weird sort of size. And this guy, I think, makes them himself, honestly. You can see they're all hand done. See how this taper right here is a little bit different than this taper here? You know what I'm saying? Like, they have different sort of, this one's a little bit, you know what I mean, finer tapered than this one's a little bit more like, you know, rough. See how it's a little rough there? But hey, man, it's done by hand, made out of real bone. This is made out of Cousin Frank. We used to call him Frank, but now we call him Guitar Nut for American guitar. So let's glue that on, clamp it on, whatever you want to say, man. I got my name brand wood glue ready to clamp, man. Ready to clamp, Clarence. And it's the right size, height-wise. You know what I'm saying? It's the exact correct size. Talking about height-wise. You know what I'm saying? So we're in business. Right? My business. I'll see you after we're clamped. You stay right there, Frank, in your eternal resting place. Hallelujah. Okay, so now while that's like resting, let's take these guys, little anchors. Actually, we'll take the anchors off these little guys and just screw them right into the anchors that are already on the gitter. Right? 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 I'll see you on that curve lift. Oh, look at that. That's a good looking pair. I want to make sure the spacing is correct. Because if you get to this point, the spacing is not correct. You know what I mean? Fuck, I just wasted all that time filming all this video. Now I got to start all over again with another instrument. So now we got this guy, man. Let's get him together. We got all the components and all the pieces all laid out that came in the package. This is for the pickguard bracket itself. Right, this is to attach that pickguard bracket to the gitter. This is the little screw that goes in here. Now, most Les Pauls don't have any kind of grommet. Some of them have grommets that have been put in there, Epiphones, things like that. This is what we call a Rickenbacker style spacer. Rickenbacker spacer. You can buy these from Rickenbacker and they'll charge you like $25 for 10 or something crazy like that. But Rickenbacker, having its origins as an electronics company, I believe that they used to call their guitars electros even, right? They knew, you know, what these were. These are like just wiring grommets, I believe, right? And nobody else, like in the guitar world, knows what they were. So, I mean, people order these right from Rickenbacker. But if you look carefully on the internet, you can put like 1,000 of them for the same price as Rickenbacker's 10, which I did. So now, you know what I mean, I will be buried with 1,000 of these, or maybe 973. So I might sell some on eBay. So let's put that little pickguard on here. We're still waiting for you, Frank. Take your time, my friend. Take your time. All right. So there, it's looking very nice. Oh, it's looking very, very, very nice. Time to put the knobs on. I have a set of these Gibson style speed knobs. Now with Gibson knobs, you're always going to want, if you're facing the guitar from up here, you're going to want to be looking dead at number 0 when the knob is pulled all the way this way. Right, so we pull all the knobs that way. We line up 0 right there. And we're going to put the knobs on. And that's the next instance where we'll be together. Together. Come. Let me show you my knob. Look at that. And what's more, yeah, look who's ready. Look who's ready for his big debut by Frank. So now it's time to put the strings on, man. But what about this, man? Well, it's usually good to keep the truss rod open while you're setting up a guitar. You know what I'm saying? We'll put that on after we've done the basic setup. Now, let's talk about it, though. This is the one that came with the black plastics set. If we line it up, the bottom, yeah, we got a match. But at the top, you are not the father. Come on, Maury. I've been paying child support since 1983. Now look, this right here was in my parts drawer. And I saw a review on Mad Malco. Yeah, I love watching Mad Malco. He's a UK guitar reviewer. Mad Malco, he's like a Scotsman, I believe. And this is the actual, I took very good notice of the truss rod cover on his Swift copy, Les Paul. Lines up 1000% perfectly. It's brand new. It's got the original screws. So this is what we're talking about. So we're going to put that on once we get the actional set up. You know what I mean? Things are feeling nice. Life is good. Noriega. We're feeling fine. I'll see you in the glamour shots. My Swifty. Come here, Swifty. I want to Swift you. So there it is, man. Now, usually when you string up a husk like this, you know, there's not really anything too much wrong with it. You know what I mean? It's not too valuable. Like they would strip all the parts off of it just to make it a parts piece, right? There's got to be something wrong with this instrument, right? That's when you have the eureka moment, man. So I find out that this neck, although it looks good on the, you know what I mean, when you put it against something like, you know, somewhat flat, it's actually got a weird sort of curve to it, just a bizarre curve. It's like almost undetected, but once you get it strung up, it's definitely like, you know what I mean, puts everything out of whack. So by making like a set of shims that are wider on one side, less and in the middle, a couple little different folded pieces of cardboard, we actually have it even now, man. The action's really nice on it now. It's like buttery, as opposed to before, where it was like, oh, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Especially on the thick strings, man. It was the axe was real high out there. It's just not right, man. It's just not right. Anyway, it's good now. It's as good as you can imagine. It's a great instrument. And I was jamming out on my little Marshall. You know what I mean? Also a British subject. You know what I'm saying? From that era. Where don't tell her that you don't own the boat. Because you might want to drive her off the bridge. Now listen. I want to tell you something, and I want to very clearly tell you. This instrument is a capable Les Paul ripoff. You know what I mean? Had the neck not shriveled up like a piece of cardboard in its original hands, you know what I mean, we probably wouldn't have it right now. Somebody would be like making a video right now, like, look at me Swift. I want to show you me Swift. Right? I can't afford a Taylor, so I got me a Swift. I couldn't get me hands on a Taylor, so I got me a Swift. Right? So let's fucking listen to it, man. In a rhythmic way, in a treble way. Treble. Peace be with you. Look after yourself. Peace be with you. Look after yourself. There it is, man. I think this is an early one. Because most of the Swifts, there's only like 3 or 4 I can really see on the internet that are like complete, you know what I mean? You see some of the details. Most of them have like a natural headstock, or I saw one that was also sort of a sunburst, and it had like also sort of like an orange sort of thing, and most of them are like a black stencil Swift, the same exact stencil. So I think this might be like one of the first ones, to be honest with you, where he's just sort of testing it out, and it looks like he finished it himself. There's a lot of indicators that this was not done Von Dong, you know what I'm saying? Listen to this guitar. This is the center position. Listen to those cheesebird pickups, how beautiful it is. And this is a tone pot on the rhythm.
all the way down, right? Closed off. It's all the way out, open. You know? How shimmery that is. It's on this guy right here. I like to keep him like right around there, man. That's why I see right at like 8. That's what I see. That's where I like to keep him. That's where his home is. Now let's talk about Mr. Bridge, man. Listen to this little twang. So that's like, I like to keep him at 8 too, but I'll close him down so you can see what it sounds like. And if you put like, this is a good one to put distortion on. Right. Distorts very well. So that right in the center there. Generally keeps in tune, but of course every time I want to show people, I have to fiddle my knobs first. I like to fiddle my knobs in front of people. New strings, they're very light gauge, cheap strings too. But once they break in, they're great. And I'm not just doing this for Guitkit, I'm doing this for all time, you know. So, around about 1992, perfect again. The best of my balance just for you, for the YouTube community, education of all. 1992, I remember there's this place called Nobody Beats the Wiz in Eatontown, New Jersey. It was all over the place, but the place near me was in Eatontown, New Jersey. And this was before, I believe it was eventually in Monmouth Mall. This is what had its own little location down the street a little bit, just so you know. They had a record department there. It was pretty good. They had a lot of CDs, and at the time, you know, I was an early connoisseur of CD players. You know, I had a CD player like 1990 or something like that. Yeah. So I was collecting the CDs like early on. My CD players made in like 1989. I remember it had a little manufacturer date in the back. And I remember like when I got it, it was like 2 months away from the time, like, you know what I mean, it was made. I was like, wow, this is new technology. I still have it. It still works too. It's good. The CD players go. It's good. The early stuff's always the best. Anyway, so Nobody Beats the Wiz is 1992. They had a sale on CDs, and all like McCartney and Wings and McCartney CDs from Capitol Records were all $5.98. I think if you bought like 3 or more, you got like an extra, like, you know what I mean, some other like bonus or something like that. $2 off, crazy like that. So I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I told my mom about it. My mom was like more than happy. Oh, okay, I'll buy them for you. She supported my Beatlemania, and it was Wings, London Town, Back to the Egg, and Wildlife. So pretty much the 3 I didn't have at that point. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really popular big ones. You know what I mean? I brought them home. I listened to them. I listened to them again. And I came up with that all them discs, like maybe a disc worth like a great disc. You know, a lot of them was like at my first listen. I was like, it's not up to, you know what I mean? This isn't Rubber Soul. You know what I'm saying? One song, however, I always loved this one, man. Paul McCartney. A Wildlife. No one else would ever see how much faith you have in me. Only fools would disagree, and it sounds some people never know. Some people can sleep at nighttime, believing that love is a lie. I'm only a person like you, that doing the world can be right all the right time. I know what was wrong, make me right. Paul McCartney, Some People Never Know from Wildlife, one of the greatest songs Paul McCartney ever wrote. And nobody's ever heard of this song before. Hey, you've heard about it now. Some People Never Know. Check it out. Paul McCartney, thank God you still breathe the same air that I breathe. Breathe it in right now. Some molecules, because he lives around here in Jersey sometimes. His wife's from Jersey. He's always around here. Somewhere I'm just breathing in a Paul McCartney air. You know what I'm saying? God bless you. Peace be with you. I'll see you next time. Hopefully it'll be soon. If not, I'll miss you until then. But I will see you in the future. Right? Peace be with you. Always. And forever.